Space holds many secrets and unsolved mysteries that people can only guess. Astronomers have already begun to record objects that question hypotheses and theories, which we believed for decades. In this, I have collected the most interesting and mysterious objects and hypotheses that are close to breaking all our ideas about space, the universe, and even our life. There are a large number of things in space planets that wander on their own, without his native luminary in full, the darkness of space. Such planets are called orphan planets. The first hints of their existence appeared in the 2000s, but only in recent years have scientists begun to fix them by gravity microlensing. Such planets can reach gigantic sizes anymore Jupiter, but usually remain unnoticed. They appear during the emission from their star system. Due to gravitational catastrophes in the Milky Way alone, there could be about 200 billion planets inhabited orphans, and, as a rule, they revolve around the galactic core. Otherwise, in this case, we are talking about intergalactic planet, and the planet does not revolve around anything, just wander in full darkness without its own star and galaxy. If one of these planets flies up to solar system, we can notice it only at the last moment. She is capable change orbits and lead to significant and terrible changes. In January 2014, in the Papua area, a meteorite fell in New Guinea, presumably flown beyond the limit of our solar system. This is the first time we've heard about it. Astronomers Amir reported in 2019 Siraj and Avalep. Based on his high-speed trajectories around 45 km/h, scientists found out that it could well fly in from interstellar space. If this is really the case, then he will be the third interstellar discovered object after Oumuamua and Comet Borisov, and the first such object to fall on Earth. Space telescopes US command intended for detection of enemy missiles tracked meteorite. How exactly was it measured? Trajectory. The position of the object was. It's classified, but the command claims it is, which is almost 100% certain the fireball had interstellar origin. Thus, the measurement values are classified and are carefully guarded. And without these details, make up most of the scientific communities, for obvious reasons, do not want to officially classify object as interstellar. Loeb believes that because the meteorite was moving so fast, and it must not have burned high above the ground, must have been made of something very durable or even artificial. The point is that he is very passionate about searching extraterrestrial life, and, having learned about the full presumed stellar body, immediately I started studying it, and after confirmation of Space Command forces, and began to plan the search microscopic spherules that are formed during the explosion of a meteorite in atmosphere. In June of the 23rd years, having received full funding, he organized the expedition. The team used the vessel Silver Star, equipped with a magnetic system for collecting microscopic sphere from the ocean bottom. As a result, about 850 sphere with a diameter of up to 1 nanometer. Analysis showed that some of them contain unusual concentration of chemicals elements, which may also indicate their interstellar origin. However, full confirmation whether these spherules are part of the meteorite, no. This project is being implemented within the framework of Galileo project, founded by Loeb in 2021. The goal of the project is to search evidence of the existence of extraterrestrials' technological artifacts. Currently, Loeb is planning a new expedition, scheduled for the summer of 25 years using remotely controlled underwater vehicle Hercules. The main goal will be to discover larger meteorite fragments, which can provide additional information about it, origin, and composition. If we manage to find it, it will be the first meteorite from beyond the solar system which was found by a person. In 2019, with the help of Australian scientists, accidentally discovered the OSCAP radio telescope stumbled upon something real, inexplicable. Giant ring radio emission, which is tens of times exceeds the size of our galaxy. It is impossible to see it with your eyes. These, the rings, do not glow, do not reflect light, and absolutely invisible in optical range. We can only catch them via radio waves. And so that you can roughly understand the scale of this ring, these bright objects are entire galaxies. At first, it all seemed simple. There's some kind of shock wave from a large one explosion or trace of a collision of two galaxies. However, not a single guess has been. It couldn't be proven. Scientists puzzled over it for a long time, head over searching for the answer. What is it, and where did it come from? Because it's nearby, nothing indicated any disaster. No remains of the explosion, no emissions of matter, and no traces, interactions of something. They are like appear out of nowhere and always have giant, perfectly round outlines. To date, the most plausible, the hypothesis, is that they were formed by powerful galactic winds, gas, and energy flows, ejected as a result of stellar explosions billions of years ago. Confirms this, the hypothesis, is that in the center of each ring, galaxies were discovered. This gave reason to assume that the rings arose inside these galaxies and then expanded outward, forming an ideal round and huge structures that now we are only observing in radio bands. Always Mars was believed to be a planet on which there may be life. However, on currently, the main contender for this title is an object that even it's not considered a planet. It's a satellite, Jupiter Europa. In the 2000s, scientists put forward the hypothesis that under the surface ocean may harbor life. Thanks to Jupiter, the satellite does not freeze completely because it constantly attracts it to himself, which forms the strongest the ebb and flow of the tides, and it also warms it. This phenomenon is called tidal warming up. In October 2024, NASA launched the Europa CLIP mission. Its mission will orbit the satellite dozens of times, scan for possible emissions from the ocean, and try to detect some organic matter using radar. NASA has also already are developing the next phase of this missions. It will be an autonomous robotic drill, which will break through the ice crust depth of up to 20 kilometers, and underwater there will be a miniature submarine was launched, which will be controlled remotely or completely autonomous. It will be sail across the ocean of Europe, search signs of life, take water samples, and maybe even record something more larger and more alive than just microorganisms. If this mission, if it really happens, then it will the first ever dive into the extraterrestrial ocean. Despite the absence full atmosphere, sunlight and very high pressure, scientists do not deprive hopes for the presence of micro-disease in the waters of the satellite. After all, if you take the depths of our ocean, despite the same lack of light and pressure, microbial life is just flourishing. If only I had to put money on the table life somewhere in our solar system, I would bet on Europe. Imagine a colossally huge emptiness, no stars, galaxies, or light. These places in the universe are called voids. There are dozens of such voids, and the Great Void in the constellation Bootes is considered one of the most huge. Its diameter is about 300 million light-years. It's so huge. Space. What can fit in it? About 2,000 Milky Ways, and still there will be a lot of space left. She was discovered in 1981, when astronomers compiled a three-dimensional map of Galask, and suddenly, they saw a huge empty oval where, in theory, they should have been thousands of galaxies, and inside it they found only 60. And they are so tiny in compared to her. It is very difficult to notice them difficult. Even taking into account the expansion the universe is like a huge void is considered abnormal. No one has yet fully does not know the reasons for its occurrence. And dark matter deficiency hypothesis, matter to create a galaxy in these zones. There are even ideas that this dent from collisions with others universes. However, it is adhered to rather as pseudoscientific and unlikely. At the moment, it is known that voids occupy up to 80% volume of the entire observable universe. But still, no one knows why the void's so smooth and with a very sharp border. They don't look like emptiness, but just like a torn piece of space. The most likely explanation is an anomaly dark matter, which, with the help of gravity, is able to smooth out contours and make such voids even. Galaxy JS Z140, discovered in 2024, is the most distant galaxy I've ever discovered. Only imagine, it was born around 13.5 billion years ago. That's only 290 million after the supposed Big Bang. At the moment, she is the most ancient galaxy of all known. Its light took about 13 billion years to reach us. However, this discovery also led to questions that are capable of destroy all our theories about the universe, built over many years. It's all about that, according to calculations, this galaxy is not should have appeared so early. According to our guesses and theories at the time, building material in the universe was not enough to form a full-fledged galaxy of this scale. She is too big for her age, very bright and well-developed. In it, perhaps hundreds of millions of stars, and this it means that either our theories are not work, or something sped it up development, or, what is most important, amazing, the universe is older than us always assumed. At the moment, she is most likely dead, and her light. The peak for birth reached us about a year ago back. Essentially, we're looking at what appeared at the stage of presumption, the birth of the entire universe. This is frightening and delights at the same time. The Great Wall of Hercules is one of the largest known structures in universe. It represents giant cluster of galaxies, extending for 10 billion light-years, which is about 10% of the observed universe. Its distance to Earth about 10 billion light-years. This means that we see her as she is. It was 10 billion years ago. But it was her age and size are of great interest and the bewilderment of scientists. Some of them, they even refuse to believe that it really does exist. That's because that it contradicts the Bolshoi theory explosion. They believe that the distance in which this cluster is located, galaxies, allows scientists to see what it was like 10 billion years ago. According to them, in my opinion, it's only 3 billion years after the Big Bang, which resulted in, as they believe, it was formed universe. Therefore, this is too small for such models, extensive and complex structure. If believe the lambda model, then the size of such structures should not exceed 1.2 billion light-years. Itself, the presence of the Wall of Hercules indicates that either we misunderstood the structure itself, or we underestimate the influence dark matter, or the universe is arranged a little differently than we imagine. There are only a few hypotheses that are being actively put forward as an explanation for this anomaly. Density fluctuation, due to which one part of the universe could be several times denser and therefore more active, attract objects and matter. Help dark matter, which accelerated process, or unknown physical fields that could work harder gravity. However, no one is in a hurry yet. With the conclusion, and most often scientists refer on statistical rarity and scarcity data for an unambiguous determination. The presence of such superrhombic structures in the universe is really scary, and some even panic. The most realistic and generally accepted, the theory of the origin of the universe, is nothing other than the Big Bang theory. According to this theory, the universe formed about 13 billion years ago from an almost infinitely dense point, called singularity. But what else is in the universe has such a high density? The answer is yes, more obvious. These are black holes. The density of a point so high that it creates literally a hole in space, from which even light cannot escape. And quite logical things appear here, questions. First of all, why? Singularity, being so dense point, did not collapse into a black hole. And secondly, what if we ourselves live in the center of such a black hole? Expansion. The universe is a consequence of absorption substances from another universe. Answer to the first question is usually described lack of space at the moment, the existence of a singularity from which our universe was formed. To do another operation in space, it is logical that the space itself should exist. But singularity is also. There is the whole universe. She was not an object that can be placed in some space. She is on her own represented everything. The human brain just can't comprehend the absence space, because according to our logic, everything must be somewhere, like an endless Matryoshka doll. In response to the second, the question scientists rely on is that no one has no idea what's inside black holes. After all, our laws of physics have simply stopped working. Some say that nothing can exist inside, but some observations show that it might still happen. Black holes are growing, change, and evaporate. The meaning of this theory lies precisely in the fact that the explosion is just a normal occurrence, a black hole that is growing and later dies. Heat death of the universe very much resembles the evaporation of black holes predicted by Stephen Hawking. However, the only evidence here is guesses and assumptions. Polish physicist, theorist, and supporter of the theory of black Nikodem Poplawski explains it's very simple. He goes back to the very point from which the whole thing appeared observable universe, and draws analogies with seeds. For example, huge oak trees too initially locked in a small jelly, which appeared thanks to the very oak. Here is the tiny point from which the whole universe appeared. It is the same and an acorn. And by the same logic, give birth to this seed to madness, dense point. Easier all that was there was precisely a black hole, which is able to change space as she if you want, with the help of this almost that of an infinitely dense point. This theory much more loyal, since she does not says that we are living in right now black hole. It only says that we are from, she may have appeared. And what was further, everyone can choose for themselves. However, despite everything, all this remains only hypotheses and guesses. If humanity ever succeeds to record how a black hole dies, then this will give us more understanding. Is it possible for universes to originate from explosion of black holes, or is it? Stephen Hawking was right with his theory of evaporation. And all this is just a fiction of theorists. Dark matter is the most mysterious substance in the entire universe that it is impossible to fix. However, its existence is proven only indirectly thanks to observations and its influence on the structure of the universe. She keeps entire galaxies from disintegrating and forms the cosmic web. Intuitively, it seems to everyone that after the Big Bang was supposed to be the universe to be just a mess of matter. But when scientists examined it on a large scale, billions of light years away, they realized that it is not chaotic, but rather arranged almost like web. And all thanks to dark matter. When we started studying rotation galaxies, they assumed that everything will work the same way as in our solar system, with distance gravity weakens and all mass concentrated in the center. However, they became observe the exact opposite. The stars at the edge of the galaxies rotated at such a rate the same speed as those that were closer to center. This left scientists baffled, bewilderment. After all, at such a speed, the rotation of the star should have been simple fly out. And at that moment, for the first time, scientists asked the question, do we even understand correctly how does gravity work in the universe? But answer to the question of what she is like represents, scientists have not yet found. It's obvious that it has weight, because it affects gravity on matter. It emits neither light nor electromagnetic waves, no heat, and nothing does not interact with particles. The only way to see it is indirectly through gravity. Dark matter is a kind of invisible framework. The universe without which she could hardly exist would exist. I hope this video will help you. I liked it. Be sure to write, comment, and like to help it move forward. That's all. Bye.